When aliens discovered humans are predators, not prey asterisk asterisk, the Zathern Collective was the undisputed predator species of the galaxy, masters of stealth and domination. They prided themselves on their ability to conquer weaker civilizations with precision and minimal resistance. For centuries, their prey were docile herbivores, beings who barely fought back before submitting. When Earth was identified as a potential resource-rich target, the Zathern barely considered humanity worth a second thought. A primitive species clinging to its fragile blue planet, their weapons were rudimentary by galactic standards, and their biology seemed laughably frail. The invasion fleet arrived cloaked, settling into Earth's atmosphere unnoticed. Reconnaissance drones surveyed major population centers, gathering data on human behavior. The Zathern prepared for their usual strategy: isolate, intimidate, and subdue. But this time, something was different. The first encounter. The Zathern's ground forces descended on a remote farming village in the American Midwest. It was an ideal test site, isolated, with minimal technological defenses. Their drones recorded the scene as squads of soldiers moved through the cornfields under cover of darkness. A lone farmer, a man in his 60s, spotted them near his barn. Instead of fleeing in terror like prey, the human grabbed a shotgun and fired a warning shot into the air. The Zathern soldiers, confused by his aggression, advanced. "Y'all picked the wrong house," the man growled. What happened next was unprecedented. The farmer's gunfire alerted his neighbors, who rallied with whatever weapons they could find: hunting rifles, axes, even pitchforks. Despite the overwhelming technological superiority of the Zathern soldiers, the humans fought back fiercely, using the terrain and their intimate knowledge of the area to their advantage. The Zathern barely escaped with their lives. Escalation. The collective dismissed the skirmish as an anomaly, an isolated incident. Their war council declared, "The real cities will fall without resistance." But the same pattern emerged in every engagement. In urban centers, the humans coordinated through encrypted networks, quickly forming militias and guerrilla cells. They adapted rapidly, repurposing civilian technology into effective countermeasures. Molotov cocktails were hurled at Zathern drones. Explosives were crafted from household items. Entire neighborhoods became war zones where every corner, window, and rooftop hid an ambush. What truly shocked the Zathern, however, was the human psychology. Most prey species fled at the first sign of danger. Humans, on the other hand, seemed to grow more dangerous when cornered. Captured soldiers reported chilling accounts of humans laughing during combat, reveling in the chaos. Some even turned the tables, tracking Zathern units back to their dropships. "Predators," one terrified Zathern soldier whispered during an interrogation. "They're not prey, they hunt us." The turning point. In one pivotal battle, a Zathern fleet attempted to subjugate a major Earth city. Their strategy was simple: deploy overwhelming force to break human morale. The humans responded by coordinating a trap. A convoy of Zathern troop transports was lured into a seemingly undefended industrial district. The soldiers disembarked, preparing to capture what they thought were helpless civilians. Instead, the humans detonated massive fuel reserves, engulfing the entire area in flames. From the shadows emerged human fighters armed with scavenged alien weapons, their faces smeared with soot and blood. They moved with precision, striking fear into the Zathern. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the Zathern retreated in disarray. Lessons from Earth. The Zathern War Council convened to analyze the disaster. Why had humans resisted so effectively? How could a species so seemingly primitive drive off a force that had conquered entire star systems? The answer, they realized, lay in the very essence of humanity. Humans were apex predators. Their species had evolved through relentless competition, mastering the art of survival in a harsh and unforgiving world. They were hunters long before they were builders. Unlike prey species, humans didn't see danger as a reason to surrender, it was a challenge to overcome. Their adaptability, ingenuity, and unyielding will to fight made them far more dangerous than the Zathern could have anticipated. And then there was something even more terrifying: humans enjoyed the hunt. The galactic fallout. The Zathern abandoned their invasion of Earth, retreating to the safety of their empire, but the damage was done. The galaxy had learned of humanity's resilience, and whispers of their terrifying capabilities spread among other species. For the first time, the Zathern found themselves in an unfamiliar position: prey. Rumors circulated that humans were developing faster-than-light travel, reverse engineering Zathern technology. If true, it wouldn't be long before humans left their fragile blue planet to explore the stars. And when they did, the Zathern knew one thing for certain: they wouldn't come as diplomats or settlers. They'd come as hunters. The human expansion. The Zathern retreat wasn't the end of the story, it was only the beginning. Humanity didn't just survive the invasion, they thrived because of it. The reverse-engineered alien technology gave them a massive leap forward, catapulting their space programs decades, if not centuries, ahead of schedule. Within a decade, Earth had its first fleet of interstellar ships. They weren't sleek or elegant like those of the Zathern. No, human ships were built for function and war. Massive, heavily armored, bristling with weapons, floating fortresses meant to send a clear message to the galaxy, *We are not prey. The United Earth Coalition, UEC, formed in the aftermath of the invasion, made its intentions clear. Humanity was no longer content to defend its small corner of the galaxy. They were coming for answers, and retribution. ####The hunters become the hunted. The first target was the Zathern border colony of Vrixa. Unlike Earth, Vrixa was a world designed for efficiency, domed cities, strict resource allocation, and minimal defenses, because the Zathern had never expected retaliation. The human fleet arrived in orbit without warning. They didn't open with negotiations or demands. They didn't bother with subterfuge. Instead, they unleashed a brutal bombardment, systematically dismantling the colony's infrastructure. When the Zathern defenders scrambled to respond, human ground forces landed en masse. Soldiers clad and rugged, battle-tested exosuits stormed the domed cities, their weapons a blend of human ingenuity and alien technology. The Zathern quickly realized this wasn't just warfare, it was personal. Humanity wasn't content to merely win. They wanted the Zathern to feel the fear they had once inflicted. A captured Zathern commander was interrogated on live broadcast, his trembling voice broadcast across the galaxy. They don't fight like prey, they fight like monsters. ###The galactic community reacts. The sudden rise of humanity sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Many species had dismissed Earth as a backwater planet, unworthy of attention. Now, they watched in horror as humanity carved a path across Zathern territory. Some species, like the peaceful Larvani, attempted to open diplomatic channels. Others, like the warlike Drak'Tharl, saw humanity as a potential rival and began fortifying their own borders. But humanity wasn't interested in alliances or rivalries, not yet. Their focus was singular: dismantle the Zathern collective, piece by piece. ###The Zathern's last stand. The Zathern, once so proud and untouchable, were forced into desperation. Their war council devised a plan to lure humanity into a trap at their homeworld, Zathar Prime. The planet was surrounded by an armada of warships, the largest fleet ever assembled in Zathern history. When the human fleet arrived, the Zathern were ready, or so they thought. What they hadn't accounted for was humanity's ruthlessness. While the Zathern focused on the human fleet in orbit, a stealth detachment of soldiers infiltrated Zathar Prime itself, targeting the planet's central command. The battle was over before it truly began. With their leadership decapitated and their fleet in disarray, the Zathern surrendered unconditionally. ###. The terms of surrender. The UEC's demands were harsh but clear. 1. The Zathern collective would disband, its member planets given the option to govern themselves or join the UEC. 2. All Zathern military technology would be turned over to humanity. 3. The Zathern would publicly acknowledge their defeat and broadcast their surrender across the galaxy. The final condition was perhaps the most humiliating: a formal apology to humanity, admitting they had underestimated the primitive species. The Zathern complied, their pride shattered. ###. A new order. With the Zathern subdued, humanity turned its attention outward, but this time, they weren't seeking war, they were establishing dominance. Diplomatic envoys were sent to other species, not with olive branches but with subtle warnings. Work with us, the message said, and we will share our knowledge. Cross us, and you will share the Zathern's fate. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Humanity was young, aggressive, and unyielding, but they were also incredibly adaptable. They had learned from their first war and were now building a coalition of their own. One founded on mutual respect but reinforced by the ever-present knowledge of what humanity could do when pushed. ###. A predator's legacy. As Earth celebrated its victory over the Zathern, a new era began. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer in question. They were not prey, nor were they predators in the traditional sense. They were something more dangerous: survivors. For the Zathern and every species watching from the shadows, one truth became clear: humanity was not content to sit quietly in its corner of the galaxy. They would explore, expand, and evolve, driven by the same relentless determination that had carried them through their ancient struggles on Earth. And if the galaxy wasn't ready for humanity, humanity would make them ready. ###. The ripple effect. Humanity's conquest of the Zathern collective was more than a shift in power, it was a wake-up call to the galaxy. Prey species, long subjugated by predators, saw humanity's victory as a beacon of hope. Revolts erupted across Zathern-held worlds as oppressed civilizations rose up, inspired by Earth's defiance. In the galactic halls of power, formerly dominant species began reassessing their strategies. The Draktharl, a warrior race that once dismissed humanity as an afterthought, now held emergency war councils. They fortified their borders, constructing massive defense grids in anticipation of human expansion. The Larvani, the galaxy's pacifists, took a different approach. They invited humanity to their capital world, offering their resources and knowledge in exchange for protection. For the first time in galactic history, the balance of power was no longer dictated by who was strongest, but by who could align themselves with humanity. #### The Hunter's Code. Earth's leadership was keenly aware of the ripple effects they'd caused. Humanity was now both revered and feared, a dangerous combination. To prevent themselves from becoming the very oppressors they had fought against, the United Earth Coalition established the Hunter's Code, a set of principles to guide their actions in the galaxy. 1. We do not hunt without purpose. 2. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. 3. We adapt, but we do not dominate without cause. These principles, broadcast across known space, aimed to temper humanity's image as relentless predators, but they also served as a warning: humanity would not shy away from war if provoked. #### The Zathern Resistance. Despite their defeat, not all Zatherns submitted willingly. A faction of die-hard loyalists formed a resistance movement, vowing revenge on humanity. Using hidden bases on uncharted worlds, they began orchestrating guerrilla strikes against human outposts. But if the Zathern had learned anything about humans, it was that their strategies had to evolve. Brute force would no longer suffice. Instead, they turned to sabotage, espionage, and psychological warfare. One of their most daring acts was the infiltration of Earth's own networks. Using stolen human technology, the Zathern attempted to spread disinformation, hoping to sow chaos among Earth's burgeoning galactic alliances. Their efforts, however, only solidified humanity's reputation. Each act of sabotage was met with swift retaliation, and each failed attempt added to humanity's legend as an unstoppable force. #### Humanity's first contact with the unknown. As humanity pushed further into the stars, they encountered something they had not anticipated: remnants of an ancient, godlike civilization. On a distant, barren world, human explorers uncovered massive ruins, pulsating with strange energy. The inscriptions etched into the stone told the story of the Escharum, a race that had once ruled the galaxy millennia ago, but their dominance had ended abruptly, with no clear explanation why. Among the artifacts was a warning, translated by human linguists: beware the true predators of the void, they come not from within, but from beyond. ###. A new threat looms. The discovery of the Escharum ruins sent shockwaves through the UEC. Humanity had barely secured its place in the galaxy, and now they faced the possibility of something far worse than the Zathern. Speculation ran wild. Were the Escharum destroyed by some external force? Was this a predator still out there, lurking in the uncharted regions of the universe? For the first time in years, humanity felt a flicker of vulnerability, yet, instead of retreating, they prepared. ###. The Galactic Unity Initiative. Realizing that humanity couldn't face such a threat alone, Earth's leaders proposed the Galactic Unity Initiative, a coalition of species dedicated to mutual defense and exploration. Though many species were wary of humanity's motives, the memory of the Zathern's fall was a powerful motivator. One by one, civilizations joined the initiative, pooling resources and technology. For the first time, the galaxy stood united, not under conquest, but under collaboration. ###. Predators of the Void. The first signs of the new threat came 2 years later. Entire star systems on the galaxy's edge went silent, their populations vanishing without a trace. Human scout ships sent to investigate found only ruins, cities shattered as though by some unimaginable force. And then, the predators arrived. Massive, biomechanical ships emerged from the void, their designs unlike anything seen before. They were not conquerors like the Zathern or explorers like humanity, they were destroyers, consuming everything in their path. The galaxy was plunged into chaos. The Galactic Unity Initiative scrambled to mount a defense, but the invaders were unlike any foe humanity had ever faced. Their weapons bypassed conventional shields, and their tactics defied understanding. ###. The Final Hunt. In the face of annihilation, humanity's predator instincts surged to the forefront. They adapted faster than any other species, analyzing the invaders' technology and exploiting their few weaknesses. Battles were fought on desolate worlds and in the cold void of space. Humanity's fleet became the vanguard of the galaxy's defense, their ships leading desperate charges against the enemy. It was during one of these battles that humanity's greatest weapon revealed itself: not their technology, but their unyielding spirit. The predators of the void, for all their power, had not anticipated one thing: a species that thrived on adversity. ###. A new legend. The war lasted for decades. But the invaders were eventually repelled. Humanity, alongside its allies, stood battered but victorious. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity was no longer just a predator or a survivor, they were something more, the guardians of the galaxy's future. As Earth's flag was planted on the ruins of the final invader stronghold, one thing was clear. The galaxy's prey had risen, not just as hunters, but as protectors, and nothing would ever hunt them again.